If selling has started to feel harder than it used to, if discovery calls feel longer, and if you leave conversations replaying what you've said, you're not imagining that there's been a shift, and you're not doing anything wrong. So today I want to answer one clear question. Why does selling feel uncomfortable for midlife business owners, even when you're experienced? So by the end of this video, you're going to understand why this usually isn't a confidence issue, and how unclear offers create emotional strain, and how one structural shift can make selling feel lighter without becoming pushy. I'm also going to share with you how you can get a simple AI prompt that's going to help you build a structured discovery call so that you're not improvising every single time. So if selling has started to feel like emotional labor instead of a normal part of business, stay with me. Because most of you watching this, you're not beginners. You've built things before, you've led teams, you've delivered real results. And earlier in business, intensity could carry you. You could push through long calls, you could over-explain, you could adjust pricing mid-conversation, and you could absorb inconsistent close rates without it affecting you much. But in midlife, capacity changes. Our energy matters more. Time feels finite, and health and relationships are not optional trade-offs. So here's a belief I want to gently challenge. Selling does not feel difficult because you dislike selling. It feels difficult because you are making too many decisions live inside the call. And when your identity is not fully anchored, when your offer is not fully clear, when qualification isn't defined, when each call feels different, when you're hesitant to close, you carry all of that into the sales conversation. So let me simplify this. There are 3 layers behind lighter selling. 1 is identity, 2, decision, and 3 is your system. So first, identity. If you're not fully decided about who you are now and what outcome you'll deliver, your offer is going to feel flexible in the conversation. You're going to soften the language, you expand scope, and you adjust based on who is sitting in front of you. That's not lack of skill, it's identity drift. Second is the decision. If your offer is not structurally clear, you are deciding in real time. Is she a fit? Should I adjust pricing? Do I mention this additional support? How do I ask for the sale? How do I handle her objections? That is decision fatigue happening live. And decision fatigue feels like sales anxiety. So third is system. When identity is anchored and decisions are defined, the system carries the weight. A structured discovery call means you are not persuading, you are clarifying, you are determining alignment. Selling becomes more about relationships and solving problems, not louder, not more difficult, but lighter. And this connects directly to capacity-based business planning. Capacity-based business planning means your systems reflect real energy in real life. It reduces the number of decisions you make in the moment. Fewer live decisions means less emotional strain, and that's the structural fit. Now, let me show you how an AI prompt can help you get an aligned discovery call script. You can use this in ChatGPT or another AI. Just going to copy and paste. You'll start with a role, and it says you are an expert sales strategist who designs calm, relationship-based discovery calls. You specialize in trust-led conversations, clear qualification, ethical, non-pushy sales, high conversion through clarity, not pressure, and you do not pitch before qualifying, over-explain, use hype or urgency tactics, try to convince someone who isn't a fit, and your goal is to create a discovery call that feels grounded, structured, human, and decisive. Now, for the client context, I'll answer this. And before creating the call, ask me for my offer, my ideal client, the main outcome I help people achieve, common reasons people would reach out, and who's not a fit, plus my price range. And I want you to pause until I respond. So what's going to happen is you're going to put this prompt in and you're going to be able to hit enter, and then it's going to give you time to answer all of that before it produces the final discovery call. But the objective is going to be to create a 4-part discovery call that builds trust quickly, clarifies the client's real problem, determines fit objectively, and leads to a clear next step, but only if aligned. So for the call structure that you're going to create, it's going to have an opening of 2 to 3 minutes. And within that, I want a 30-second opening that sets the expectations, a boundary statement for the call, and a positioning statement with no pitching. So the discovery calls, you're going to create, or for the discovery questions, you're going to create 6 to 8 questions that explore current situation, desired outcome, what's getting in the way, what's happening if nothing changes, past attempts and decisions, readiness to act. Questions should feel natural and not scripted. And then for the qualification and fit section, I want you to create clear signs when someone's a fit, red flags that they're misaligned, and 1 sentence to exit cleanly if not a fit. So include the exact language if not a fit, and include the exact language that I can use. So for the offer transition, this is only going to be if they're qualified. You're going to create 1 transition sentence, a short offer explanation under 90 seconds. And for the structure, use like, you told me X, the gap is Y, and the work that we would do would focus on Z. Don't do generic benefits. And for the investment and close, I want you to create 1 clean way to state the price. Share how to hold that silence, and do a response for, I need to think about it. And with a clear next step if yes, a respectful close if no. And for the output rules, I want you to use clear headings, short scripts I can read verbatim, no hype language, no manipulation, no emojis. And this should feel simple, grounded, and easy to use. So that's the full prompt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit enter, and it's going to come back and it should ask me my questions that I need to answer. And give it a second. Okay, so now it's pausing and it's asking me these questions. So I've already got them created. I'm going to just copy and paste them here. And then, once they're all there, then I'll hit enter and we'll see what the response is. Okay, so now it's got my full discovery call structure. I've got my opening, I've got my discovery questions, and it is doing my qualification and fit. And then it's also doing the offer transition. So you can adjust this, make it fit for you, but this prompt should make a huge difference for your discovery calls. When you run this, it does not give hype language. It builds structure. It gives you opening questions that slow the call down, clarifying questions that uncover what the person actually wants, qualification checkpoints so you're not guessing, calm language for both yes and not a fit, and one clean next step. So for example, it might suggest starting with, before we talk about working together, can you tell me what outcome you're hoping to solve? That one shift moves the call from performance to clarity. And later in the flow, it gives you language like, based on what you've shared, I believe this could be a fit. And here's what that would look like if we work together. Or, just as important, based on what you're describing, I don't think this is the right container. This removes pressure because you're not responsible for convincing. You are responsible for determining alignment. AI here is not replacing your judgment, it's organizing your thinking. It reduces the number of structural decisions you carry alone, and that protects capacity. It reduces over-talking, it removes the feeling that every call must convert. And you don't have to be good at AI. You only need to use it as a thinking partner. So let's zoom out for a moment. If selling feels heavy, it is usually because the conversation is carrying more weight than it should. When your offer is clear, qualification is defined, and the next step is simple, the call becomes calmer. You're not trying to convince. You are trying to determine fit, and this is a very different posture. Most sales strain comes from deciding too much inside the conversation. What do I offer her? Should I adjust this? Is she really a fit? How do I ask for the sale? When those decisions are already made before the call begins, the energy shifts. The structure holds the conversation. You do not have to. And that is what makes selling feel lighter, and how relationships become easier to build. So here's a question I want you to consider. What are you still deciding in real time? And what would change if that decision was made before the call ever started? See for yourself how making less decisions during your discovery calls improves your results, and also how you feel about doing those discovery calls. You are not behind. You are not bad at sales. You may simply need stronger structure. And structure is something you can build.